Welcome to Dissect That Film's Spooktober favorites. Tonight, it's Trick or Treat. Remember, respect the holiday, and always remember to check your candy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dissect That Film, where we dissect the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite films and film franchises. And we are back with more Spooktober favorites. It's our third year doing this, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. Because unlike the rest of the year, where we talk about horror all year round, words are hard. Around.
Remember, everyone.
All years around, just like Sam's head. We talk about horror all year round, but October, or as we call it here at Dissect That Film, Spooktober, we each pick our favorites of the holiday or of the season each year, and we cover them. And then, that's how it goes. You know, over the years, we've covered some really fun movies, killer clowns. I'm trying to think of all the movies we've covered for Spooktober for the last 3 years. If you guys could think of them, I can't remember half of the ones that we've done. We did Child's Play at one point.
When did we do?
We did
Nightmare Before Christmas. No, that was a Christmas one. We covered that during Christmas.
That was Christmas. I
covered that
forgot.
during Christmas time.
When did we do Sleepy Hollow?
We've done.
I think that one was just
randomly.
We just covered that one. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I just wanted to cover it.
Yeah.
But in its defense, Nightmare Before Christmas is both.
It's also a Thanksgiving and an Easter movie, technically.
Yeah.
You can make a case.
All right, so for Spooktober, we've covered movies such as Day of the Dead, which was our very first episode of Spooktober back in 2021. We covered Beetlejuice.
Nobody watched it.
It's a great episode and it's a great movie. So you need to check. I'm going to name them all out because I want everybody to go and check all these Spooktober episodes out right now. Go do it. Fuck this episode. Go listen or watch all of those episodes first, then come back and do it again.
Just make sure you come back.
So in our very first year of doing it, we did Day of the Dead. We did Beetlejuice. We did The Strangers. We did The Ring from 2002. And we did Child's Play. And guess what, guys? I'm looking at the runtimes for every episode for our first year of Spooktober. An hour and 14 minutes, hour and 6, hour and 7, hour and 12. We don't do episodes like that anymore.
We do some
we're like 3 hours, right? That's normal. That's a normal time frame, right?
I mean,
like double that shit. We're like Hollywood in here.
They like to hear us talk.
Our second year, we covered Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Phantoms.
Yeah, baby.
We did. I picked Sleepy Hollow last year. So we did cover Sleepy Hollow in Spooktober. We did The House of the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
And Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, which those last two episodes were guest episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had a really unique twist to the way that we did it last year. This year we are
Killer Clowns from Outer
Space. You
right?
did. Angela, you always get you pretty much get the first pick every year. Well, actually, no, Dan got the first pick the very first year we did it. So just bringing us back in time. Just bringing us back in time here. Yeah, but so we are covering 2007, or if you want to say 2009, because that's technically when it was released, Trick or Treat from Michael Dougherty. We have completed the Michael Dougherty filmography of all the movies he's directed now, because in our third ever episode of the show, back before Dissect That Film was even a thought, we covered Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is his latest film, and then we covered his Christmas classic Krampus, which was, I believe, 2 Christmases ago. So we have
dress up as Krampus.
So pretty much we went in reverse order of his releases. So
sounds good.
We are now at his first,
which is fine.
Yeah, at his directorial debut, Trick or Treat. Not Trick or Treat, not that 1980s crazy metal horror movie from the 80s. No, this is Trick or Treat. And the reason why this movie is called Trick or Treat is because of that other movie. Because originally,
which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, originally it was just going to be called Trick or Treat. So, Angela, we're going to do things a little bit different because of the fact these are our Halloween favorites. The person who picked the movie is going to tell us why they picked it and why it is their favorite this year. So, Angela, tell us.
Under the bus.
Under the Bus. I've never seen this movie.
Under the Bus.
Oh.
This is 2 years in a row that it is a movie that I have not watched, but I have wanted to watch. So
Angela had that trick or treat shirt. She's worn that trick or treat shirt on many episodes.
I have had this, and I have been meaning to watch this show, movie, whatever you want to call it.
Deceit.
It's not deceit. It just gives me a reason to watch something that I've been wanting to watch.
Love it.
So it just gives me a reason to use said movie.
Yeah, fine. I've used it as an excuse to watch stuff before too.
Oh yeah.
I always thought that Sam was cute. He's just a little cute little thing. I mean, yeah, I know he's
Give the man what he wants.
Yeah.
Give the man what he wants. That's it.
No, you just got to follow the goddamn rules.
That too.
Which nobody knows how to do. Damn it. Don't feed the birds. They feed the birds.
Don't feed the birds rice. Stop it. People stop throwing rice at weddings? It just kills the birds.
Just throw birdseed. You know, I've known that since I was a kid. Don't throw rice.
Don't feed the ducks bread. It's also very harmful. Don't do that.
Don't feed them bacon either.
Why would you feed them bacon?
Because they're dinosaurs.
Well, fuck.
Bacon's probably better for them than the other two things we just mentioned.
Yeah, well, you don't feed them bread because it's empty calories and it doesn't fill them up.
I may be thinking of geese. Geese don't feed bacon.
Geese don't.
Because they hiss at you and it's weird.
They just attack you for no reason.
No, they do. They're assholes. But they're
Which is
sweet.
crazy because they're Canadian. Aren't they supposed to be nice?
That's where all the evil goes.
Yes, they just seep into the eggs.
A conduit.
That's it. That's where all the evil of Canada went. To the birds.
Yes. Yep. They just, there you go. No, we had this hotel near us that used to let you feed geese. And yeah, we went over there after I had hurt my foot. So I'm on, walking around with a cast. And here they are trying to chase me. And I can't run. So
they just want food. And the worst I've ever had was when we were there is I'd sat on the park bench, I didn't have food. One came up to me, pecked me on the knee, and I was like, "What the hell do you want?" And it just stared at me and walked away. And I'm like, "What the fuck do you want from me?"
It put its head down, and I'm like, "Damn it, it's gonna charge!" And I'm yelling at him. I'm like, "I can't run!"
Tackle it to the ground.
Wow.
Take that, you cocksucker.
Who would have thought we would have talked about Canadian geese in this episode? Who had that on their Dissect That Film bingo card?
We do need to make Dissect That Film bingo cards. I mean, literally, what the hell did we talk about each and every time?
Fill it out with some random bullshit. They're just like,
probably hit at least a couple of them.
And if you win, send us a pic and we'll send you something.
Hell yeah.
And no cheating after the fact.
Yeah.
You can edit those timestamps, and we're not fucking stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, like I've been wanting to watch this movie for a while, so it just gave me a reason. I'm like, why pick something that I've seen that we've probably already talked about, or we're gonna talk about not around Halloween? Yeah. So just gave me a reason to watch it.
So Dan, was this your first experience with this movie?
No, I've never seen this movie before. I've never heard of this movie before until like recently.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Well, like in the last several years since we've been doing this, but I'm sure I've probably seen it and it's just like blended into the background with the 800 million other horror movies that exist that most people don't talk about. Just saying, it's not one of the big ones. But yeah, this was not wasn't on the list, but it was a movie.
All right.
That's not a review. That's not an opinion. I'm being vague.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, that's my line.
Yeah, we're just doing our impressions.
But I'm just stating the fact it is a movie though.
It is.
That's all I can.
Yes.
That's it. That's
what we talk. That's what we talk about on this show. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I know. Well, see, that's all
you got.
Yeah, it's not the merchandise that existed for it.
Yes.
Yeah. And the guy directed, King of the Monsters, which
you're the only one that doesn't have.
Yes.
Let that man direct another Godzilla movie, and Guillermo del Toro. Let him direct a fucking Godzilla movie.
Before he does another Godzilla movie, I need him to do a sequel to this.
He's working. Isn't it in development right now?
Supposedly. I mean, with the strikes going on.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Nothing is being
worked on.
nothing.
This is not my first time. This is not my second time. It's not my third time. This is like my 100th time seeing this movie. And that's about it. Clearly, you could probably figure out if you're watching on YouTube, you could probably get if I like this movie. I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a Halloween staple. That's about the extent of what I'm going to state until the end when I tell you how I really feel about this movie. But let's talk about Trick or Treat and all the craziness surrounding this movie. So first things first, which is something I completely forgot to do last week. I forgot to share the box office stuff for The Conjuring 3, but you know what? That episode is over.
Oh.
And no one cares now.
Sure they
So
don't.
we're not even going to talk about that. Yeah. But we're going to talk about this. This movie was directed by Michael Dougherty, and it was written by Michael Dougherty. So this was an idea back in 1996 when Michael was in film school. He was at NYU. He made an animated short that introduced Sam, the pumpkin or the sack-headed character here that is prominent all over the merchandise and on the cover of this movie and everything. Yeah, he is the face of this. He is a Halloween icon, I would say now. He is everywhere. You go into a Spirit Halloween and there is so much Sam merchandise. It's insane. So he makes this short. It's called Season's Greetings, which was actually an idea to be the title of this movie, but they thought it was going to be confusing for Christmas because that's usually when Season's Greeting is said. So it got changed to Trick or Treat, and then eventually, because of the 80s horror movie Trick or Treat, it turned into Trick or Treat.
Yes.
So pretty much the short is of Sam. You don't. That's not his name in the short. It's the character. He's trick or treating way too late at night, and he gets caught up in an alleyway with some random guy who I guess has been kidnapping children around the neighborhood. And you get a tussle in the alleyway, but you don't know who wins until Sam comes out of the alleyway with the sack full. Clearly, killed the man, put him in the sack, and went away. So it's only like a 3.5 minute short. It's on YouTube. And if you have the Scream Factory Blu-ray, which I have back here, which is fucking awesome. It's got all the beautiful special features. And it has a reversible cover. So on the inside is like the classic, it's not Godzilla, everybody. It's got the classic Sam
nice.
on the cover. I'm actually debating on switching it to that one because I really like that classic look.
Fucking do it.
But yeah, the short is also on that Blu-ray. It's a really cool short. It's classic, hand drawn cell animation. 3.5 minutes. It's worth your time. No dialogue, no nothing. So
after
it's spooky. I literally watched it right before we hit record because I wanted to refresh myself. So. It was filmed back in 2006 and was slated to be released in 2007. And Michael Dougherty also was the writer of Superman Returns back in 2006.
Interesting.
And because of the performance of Superman Returns wasn't very good. And because of that, Bryan Singer is a producer on this movie. And because of the performance of Superman Returns, they kind of pushed back on this one. Like, I don't know if we really want to do two movies with your name attached to it in the same year. So they pushed it back, and they were like, we'll figure it out. We'll release it at some other time. It was going around the circuits and film festivals and everything, and they were trying to get a release date until I think it was in 2009 when it was fully released. So over 2 years after it was supposed to come out, it finally was released, but it was only released to home video. So you could only get it on DVD.
That sucks.
And this was a $12 million production and got no return other than whatever they made for DVD sales, up a DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever. And so this movie didn't get a theatrical release, I believe, until last year. Was the first time it was ever shown in theaters back during Halloween of 2022. So it's crazy because you look at the production quality of this movie, you look back at 2000, you're thinking 2007, what was coming out around then, and you're just like, I don't know,
The housing market crash. That was next year.
Yeah, but
I was pregnant at this time.
It's just one of those things where you look at this movie and you're like, this movie looked way better than most films that probably came out in 2007. And it's just unfortunate that it took, 15, 16 years for it to finally get put in theaters. And I was upset that I couldn't go see it in theaters. So I would have loved to see this. This movie is 82 minutes, which is just... Okay, I could... Here's the thing, though. For me, I got to use another 20 minutes. I could use some extra on something else. Just give me some more. Because, for one, for anyone who doesn't know, this is an anthology. But it's an anthology that's not like your typical Tales from the Crypt or Creep Show where they're all kind of standalone stories. Where this is different stories all intertwined into one day. Like, it's all one night. It all takes place on Halloween night. And you see different characters, but like either sprinkled in the background and then that later would turn into like the main characters of that story. And I like how the structure is in this movie where with a lot of anthologies, you don't really see that. Like I said, they're just mostly standalone.
Well, so not to mention, this doesn't even feel like it sometimes. It feels like it's just moving at a different time of the night. There's not like a clear next section.
Yeah, there's no break.
Yeah.
But you're getting completely different stories, though. Like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of them do link up, but there are ones that don't. They're just stories. And I feel that's... no, I mean, you kind of get like, it's mostly like you have like two, because I think there's 4 total stories. You have the...
there's 5.
There's 5 stories? Okay. I'm trying to think. So you have Principal Wilkins and his whole storyline. You have the werewolves. Mm-hmm. You have the ghost kids on the bus. Mm-hmm. You have Mr. Krieg.
Yep.
Who am I missing?
I'm just going by IMDb. It says 5.
Our first victims.
Okay, so it says opening, which is... when we go through the plot, of course, we're going to talk about these scenes in depth. This is a 15, 16-year-old movie, so we're going to kind of jump all over the place when we're talking about the plot and talking about the different interlocking pieces of it. So you have your opening scene, you have your Principal Wilkins, all his stuff, you have the Halloween school bus massacre, you have the surprise party, which is the werewolf part of the movie. You have Sam, which is the Mr. Krieg, and then you have the conclusion. That's what Wikipedia has. So,
okay.
I don't know. That makes sense.
I don't know. That's it kind of... I'm trying to think of like what would be the 5th story, but I guess maybe you could call the opening its own thing because that doesn't really connect to anything.
This says the principal. Okay, so
werewolves.
I had to read. I had to read that. I was like, wait a minute, what? It was the principal, the werewolves, the teenagers, that do the bus, the whole thing with the bus.
Yeah.
That's the opening, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, the opening and the man
and stuff.
Then this.
Yeah. Then Krieg.
Yeah.
So this has Krieg and Sam separate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Since Sam goes around.
So Sam is like our crypt keeper kind of guy. He's involved in the stories, but he's also kind of just there. Like he is just
say anything.
So yeah,
he kind of picks up the pieces of everything.
Kind of I guess it's kind of a spoiler. Sam is kind of a Halloween demon. He's kind of a protector of the holiday, if you want to say. It depends on how you want to see it, because he is a very violent entity, but he is kind of the Krampus of Halloween, if you think about it. And it's funny that Krampus is directed by Michael Dougherty, who kind of tweaked this thing. To be honest, just keep giving this dude holiday movies,
please.
Like Halloween horror. Or just holiday horror and period. It's just amazing. So I guess we could just jump right into the plot. And as we go through the plot, we will kind of stop and break down kind of how things intersect and how things, you see scenes from other, sections before you actually see the entire thing, or things kind of happen in reverse. It's a whole thing. This is a movie that is only 82 minutes long. So it's an hour and 22 minutes, very short. This is a movie you definitely want to see more than once, because you are going to pick up new things every time you watch it.
Oh yeah.
Because there are times you're like, oh shit, I didn't even see that. Or, oh, I didn't see that. Or, oh, hey, there's that guy. Like, because you're just you're mostly paying attention to those core, whatever character it's following at that moment. There's sometimes that Sam pops up and you're just like, I didn't even remember seeing him there.
I pointed some things out to him. He's like, I don't remember that. And I'm like, yeah, because I had said something about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. Like, I had to watch the whole thing to get it at the end, like what was actually happening. But I got it. And I'm like, okay.
Before we do, though, let's hop through the cast real quick, because this got a pretty decent sized cast, because there's a lot of characters in this. So starting off, we're going to talk about Quinn Lord, who at the time was, I believe, like 8 or 9 years old. He's the one who played Sam. Because when Dougherty went into the movie, you know, usually for characters like this, you would hire a little person, and because it was just the easiest way of doing it, you know. But he really wanted Sam to walk and act like a child. So what way are you going to be able to get that feeling is by actually putting a child in the costume. He wore the costume with the sack head. He wore also the creepy pumpkin face mask. Like, this kid did it all, and he did a fantastic job at portraying Sam on screen. He also shows up in a different scene, but we'll talk about it when we get to the scene itself. Not as Sam. We have Dylan Baker as Principal Stephen Wilkins. Dylan Baker, he is so good at playing a piece of shit.
Isn't he?
He's so good. We have Anna Paquin, who played Lori. We have Brian Cox, who played Mr. Krieg. We have Gerald Patz, who played young Krieg. We have Lauren Lee Smith as Danielle. We have Rochelle Ayates as Maria. We have Britt McPhillip as Macy. Jean-Luc Bilodeau. Why does that name sound familiar? I feel like we've covered a movie with this dude in it. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Just gotta look real quick. This is his second film. Okay, never mind. I'm like, this name sounds familiar. I think it was the guy from The Nun was named Jean-Luc too.
He may have been.
Piranha 3DD.
Oh yeah, we haven't covered that one yet. He played Schrader.
Pivot time.
We have Sam Todd as Rhonda. Alberto Gizzi as Chip. Isabel DeLucci as Sarah. Monica Delane as Janet. Leslie Bibb as Emma. Tomo Penniket as Henry. Brett Kelly as Charlie. Connor Levins as little Billy Wilkins. Dad! You help me cut the pumpkin!
Help me with the eyes!
You gotta help me with the eyes!
Shut the fuck up, kid!
Dude, I like that scene though, because he's like,
it's so good.
The dad's like,
oh, it's fantastic. But yeah, that's your core cast. We have Glenn McPherson, who is the cinematographer on this movie. He has done such beautiful films, such as Romeo Must Die back in 2000. Exit Wounds. That's a fantastic Steven Seagal movie. Probably the last good one. He did, and I want to talk about it because these are movies I have trashed for a very long time. He was the cinematographer for 1, 2, 3 Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil movies.
Oh.
Afterlife, Retribution, and the worst fucking one, The Final Chapter, which has some of the most nauseating shots I've ever seen in a film. Also, he was cinematographer for Monster Hunter. That was his last film that he worked on.
I guess he just wants to go down with that guy, I guess. Jesus.
His first film, I just want to mention, because this is a great title to a movie, his first film was in 1983 called A 20th Century Chocolate Cake.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it at that. The music was done by Douglas Pipes, and the music for this movie is amazing. It is perfect for this type of movie. It's memorable. And we talk about it every week when we talk about scores, or even just, you know, with the Conjuring movies, there was songs, you know, there was songs of the time that just made it feel like it was taking place in that time. And not necessarily, I mean, there are songs in this movie, but the score is what kind of hits you more. It's just perfect. Like, there's just the creepy piano work, the string work. It's all fantastic.
So I got a question. Well, no, I'll wait till we start.
So he has done music. He did Monster House, which was that really weird 3D animated. I love it. It's a great movie. It was
a fun movie.
The animation or CG or whatever they consider that is kind of has not aged very well, but it's still a very enjoyable movie to watch around this time of year. And that was the movie that Michael Dougherty watched to call him up to bring him in to do the score for this movie. He would come back and work with Dougherty again for Krampus in 2015. So
sweet.
Nice. He's also worked on some sweet animated Barbie movies. So
fuck yes.
Good on you, man.
Why not?
Gotta make a paycheck.
So yeah, let's hit this plot because there is not a crazy amount to talk about, but there is a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? But before we do that, I'm going to open this beautiful Saranac pumpkin ale and drink it out of this wonderful Spirit Halloween trick or treat cup.
Yes, I'm almost done with my.
I wonder how many times he's gonna be like, let's talk about this plot. But before we do that, it's gonna be.
Sorry, I forgot to talk about the cast of the movie. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're just fine.
So let's pour this beer and then. Oh yeah, you hear that? Oh yes. Oh boy, it's foaming. Oh god,
he's giving it so much head.
Oh no, he's dripping.
Okay. I can't believe he took
Party
all. I can't believe he took all that head in his mouth.
I did. I poured it terribly. That was awful.
It's all right. As long as it's tasty, that's all that matters.
I'm ashamed of myself. It's okay. It's a concrete floor. Doesn't matter. Easy to clean. All right. Trick or treat. Golly. So this movie opens up to some awesome, like, 50s infomercial, like, telling you the rules of Halloween. And
which speaking of.
Oh wait, let's read the back of Angela's shirt. Actually, I won't be able to read it. I can't. What's the
say? Hold on, you gotta turn the rest around. I can't see it. Squirt.
No, just have her stand. Just have her stand up.
Okay. It says, number 1, wear a costume. Number 2, pass out treats. Number 3, never blow out a jack-o'-lantern. Number 4, and always check your candy. And then there's like a really small number 5. It says, never butt fuck a pig while wearing a hot dog costume.
Oh.
That's in the movie. That's in the fucking movie.
You're not wrong.
No.
Yes.
Wrong.
I love it.
Like really fake ink on that
so
number
good.
5.
Yes. One of the most important rule, which is on a lot of shirts, it's on my shirt as well, is always check your candy. That's a major staple for Halloween, period. Those rules aren't just for this movie. That is the rules for Halloween as a whole. Like when you go trick-or-treating, your parents always told you make sure you check your candy before you eat it, because this movie is going to tell you why and show you why you should always check your candy. But
it's candy tax.
So the infomercial was a little bit different with the rules. Their rules were like, don't go to it was like, one of them was like, don't go to strangers' houses. And I was like, isn't that trick or treat? Like, I'm very confused by this infomercial. It doesn't make any sense. But
I'm pretty sure half the people in this neighborhood you never see, but this time.
Yeah.
And they're just like, trick or treat.
Yeah, it's odd. So, but it's really cool. I like the whole 50s opening.
Yeah.
It jumps down to modern day, and we meet
modern day?
Well, modern for 2007.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out when it takes place.
I feel like it takes place in 2006, whenever it was filmed.
Well, see, that's what throws me off, though, because there's things that are said later in the movie that kind of like are weird, and I'll get to it when we get there.
Okay, well, I mean,
make me think.
Like I said, it could be anything because I have no idea when this movie takes place.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I don't know either.
It's like certain costumes and certain like slang that's used, and I was like,
yeah.
The fact that nobody uses a cell phone never is brought up in this movie. Now, they existed, obviously not like we have smartphones now,
right?
But when they do that, they do a time jump back 30 years, and everything in the background is from the 50s.
Yeah.
So the movie has to, in my mind, either took place in the 80s or the 90s.
I feel like the 90s, it makes more sense. Like,
yeah,
it makes more sense for what you see in the movie. It kind of feels like it could be the 90s.
Yeah, I'm probably totally wrong, but it doesn't feel like it takes place in the mid 2000s. But
just the way it's shot, really, like how everybody dresses.
Yeah, and also we don't see a lot of cars in this movie, so it's kind of like usually you can kind of get an idea when you see cars, you're just like, oh, I mean, I know people nowadays, you can see cars of all different eras driving around, but like usually in a movie,
You would point it out.
you could see, if you see more than two cars that are of the same era, you're like, oh, then that's probably when it takes place.
Well, that's what they did. That's when they do the flashback thing. I was like, these cars are all from the 50s.
All the cars from the 50s, that bus.
Yes.
Yeah, though they're the costumes, because, we'll get to that. So we meet Emma and her husband. Can't remember his name because he's kind of useless. They're coming back from a party, and she hates Halloween. And I'm just like,
fuck her, dude.
Here's the thing.
Well, he was about to, but fuck her, dude.
Why does she hate Halloween so much to the point that she overdoes the decorations in her yard? Was that all her husband?
I'm pretty sure it was all him because she's
taking him down?
And she's scared of him.
Oh.
And Halloween ain't even over yet.
Yeah, who gives a shit if your mom's coming tomorrow? She'll fucking get over it.
But it's so funny because she's watching kids walk past and she's smiling like it's not a big deal. But here she is, like, trying to take the sheets off, and she's, like, shaking, like...
I'm assuming her mother was a prude, so she's a prude. That's probably why they...
Okay. So, they have this whole conversation, the fact that, the fact that she doesn't like Halloween. They go, she blows out the jack-o'-lantern in front of their house, and you don't see him, but you hear... whisper, or you hear kind of breathing, and you hear there's like an obstruction, somebody's wearing a mask,
POV shot,
and he gasps. He's like, because he sees it happen, and he like runs across the street and looks at the pumpkin, and it's like, oh shit, that's not good. So they go up there, and she's talking about how she's going to take all the decorations down. I feel like he's trying to make like the subtle nod to be like, hey, let's go get busy, and she's kind of like,
And he tells her not to
blow it out.
Just the rules. You're going to offend somebody. You're going to make somebody mad.
She's like, I don't give a shit. This is dumb. This holiday's stupid. And that also offends whoever that. Yeah. Let's get busy. And it gets to the point where she's just like, yeah, go watch that tape. And he's like, all right. I don't know if the tape is just nature's. What did it say? Oh, I had it written down.
It said nature
something. Nature special. Nature special.
Yes. But see, they watch a VHS, though.
So that's where I'm feeling it might be the 90s. Yeah. I feel like 90s is a good time frame. So he goes inside to watch his tape. So is it to get him ready, or is that just to take place because she doesn't want to do it?
I think it's to get him ready because she's like, I'll be up there, because she's going to take the digger. She'll go watch the tape, and I'll be up in like 15 minutes or something. Right. He might. But it's like full blown like titty porn, as much as this movie could be, have titty porn in it.
So she starts taking down the decorations. She's getting spooked out by different things. She sees like a creepy kid standing across the street with the mask on, just standing there, and she's like constantly, like every time she'd look, he looks like he's staring at her, until you get the cut where a car pulls up and he takes the mask off, and it's just he's just waiting for his ride. But then
he had no idea what you were doing.
So then she takes off a ghost, and then the sheet kind of like lunges at her, and she gets attacked, and you don't see what's attacking her, but all you see is the bitten lollipop, and it slits her throat in front of a bunch of kids, and the kids are like, just run.
Yeah, but it's all under the sheet. The sheet just goes bloody, and they freak the fuck out.
You don't see anything happen. So that's the beauty of this movie. I guess it depends on who you talk to. I think it's really well done in this movie. It's the fact that all of the kills in this movie are done off screen, and not to the point where you don't ever see them. It's just the way that they're portrayed are very, I don't know. They're just I feel like they're well done. Like when Emma gets killed under the sheet, you don't see her throat get slit. You just see the blood on the outside, like, spray on the inside. That's what the kids see. And so it's, I don't know. I feel like it's just seeing it from a different point of view. Like you're seeing it from like you're one of the kids, but you're on the other side of the sheet and you're like, shit, gotta go.
Yeah.
So the husband wakes up after his tape is done because he just got the static on the TV.
Yep.
And he goes outside, and he first goes up to, like, he's fucking around with all the decorations, and he slaps a hand or an arm that's hanging from the tree because he thinks it's a decoration, but it's wearing a wedding ring, and it's dripping with blood to the point where he then turns around and he's like, "Oh, this is something I don't recognize," and he pulls the sheet off, and it's her head on like the stake, and it's got the lollipop shoved in her mouth.
Yep.
Really well done.
Yep.
She high fives a hand too.
Yep.
As she's taking the stuff down.
Yeah, as she's like walking by.
Yeah. Because it scares her, because it comes back at her, and she's just like ducks out of the way.
Yeah.
Scary Halloween.
Like, here you are playing around with the decorations. You know what they are?
Children shouldn't play with dead things. It's a movie.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the awesome comic book opening titles, which is really cool. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
Like the old oh my god, was it EC Comics? Did the old the horror comic books back in the 50s, and they caused a whole bunch of shit. That caused the oh my gosh, I can usually think of this guy's name, that cocksucker that got on the soapbox and ruined the comic book industry for the first time. I'll think of it later. Keep going. Pretty much said comics were ruining society. So comics were ruining our kids. Okay, so his idea was
the same guy who came out later and was like, video games are the worst.
Different guy. This is
same premise though.
So back in the 50s, when comics were at their peak, this dude literally came out and said he went to psychiatric wards and things with troubled kids and juvenile halls and stuff like that, whatever, and noticed that all the kids that were reading comic books, ergo comics are ruining our society. This whole big thing, and instead of the comics industry being like, fuck you, whatever, they decided to self-regulate in the face of pressure from the government stuff and neutered the piss out of comic books. And his name's there, and I just can't think of the dude. But it was his book was I can't think. It's not there. I'll tell you guys later. It'll come up. Sorry, guys. I usually know this.
So after the credits are done, we are now at the big party, the big what are these called? Block parties, and we are in Warren Valley, Ohio. So Ohio, yeah.
I can't find.
Warren Valley, Ohio.
So we meet.
Ohio.
We're at like a Halloween store, like a costume shop. It is crazy as hell. People are buying costumes last second, and we meet these 4 women. They're all getting dressed. Of course, you get like the way that they shoot it. You don't see anything, but they're all dressing up like fairy tale characters, or I guess Disney princesses now. Whatever you want to view, however you want to view them, other than one. And a little boy is peeking in. He's trying to get a little peep. And guess who that is? That is the actor who plays Sam.
Nice.
Yep.
I figured.
Yep.
Getting some of that titty peek.
That
kid.
That was Quinn Lord, which I didn't know that until after I watched it last night for this episode. I watched special features and they mentioned that. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So they're getting ready for the party. And you meet Lori, played by Anna Paquin. She is very nervous because they're trying to find dates because she's what you like at this point in time. You think she's a virgin, like she's scared. She's nervous for her first time, but you don't know what the hell her first time is.
She's
needs to be. Don't say it. Special. Oh,
yes, it needs to be special. And.
Which is funny, what she dresses up as. I just don't get that.
At least, unlike the other girls, she didn't have her tits hanging out.
She,
for now.
Well, yeah, but that's...
Yeah, it's funny because
just give her the next year.
Yeah.
When she plays What's-Her-Face in True Blood.
In True Blood?
Just give her time. It happens.
So, yes, she, they're getting all ready for this party. She's Little Red Riding Hood. Her sister is Cinderella, and she's the one who's like, she doesn't care. She goes up to the cashier, is like asking him to go to this party out in the woods. He's like, yep. And
I want a piece of that meat, and he's like, all right.
Then you have these two other girls. I can't remember their names, but they go out. Then you're kind of just seeing them prepare for the party, and then I guess this other party that's happening later on in the night.
Oh, I remember those books while you're cycling through your notes here. It was Dr. Frederick Wortham, and the book was called Seduction of the Innocent. It was in the mid early 50s. That's the fucker that ruined it. But I always get it mixed up with Dr. William Moulton Morstead. He was the guy that created Wonder Woman. Yep. Weird fella there.
Yes, very much. I've seen a biography on that guy. It's very interesting. So we then see this young boy dragging his candy bag down the street, and it's just
nasty
grosses me out because it's all brown on the bottom. You're like, what is this kid doing? And he's going down the street, knocking down breaking pumpkins, and he goes up to this house, and it says, we're not home right now, just take one. And of course, he's going to take a handful, but he gets caught.
Yeah, he does.
By Dylan Baker, aka Principal Wilkins, and I love it where he's just like, that's gonna what does he say? Like, that's gonna ruin your appetite.
But think of your diabetes. Because he said something about his diabetes too.
I think that was a little later, but I think
maybe I don't know.
Opening with that, like,
I thought
that's gonna ruin your diabetes, there, little boy.
Yeah, he says something, and then he references his diabetes in his whole spiel.
Yeah. So
I think it's just a nice. Is that just a nice way of just saying, like, mind your waistline, Tubby? Like, it's just like a nice...
Pretty much, yeah. So
I'm trying to read my shirt upside down, and I'm reading it.
You good?
No.
Okay.
It said something about cake.
I love cake.
And it says so many ways to take a life, and I thought it said so many ways to cake a life, and I'm like, what the hell?
So many ways to eat a cake.
I want that on a bumper sticker. So many ways to cake a life. Like, fuck yeah.
I have not seen that part of my shirt before. Sorry. I'm like,
I love when Charlie's about to leave or trying to leave, and he's like, sit down, Charlie. And he's like, okay.
You ain't got nowhere to go, son.
We then go back to the girls, and they're pretty much trying to get Lori all, they're trying to get her all loose and, ready to go. And they're like, hey, we're going to go over and ask these guys to come to the party. They go to like some random news crew. They're like camera guys. And it's like, hey, you want to go to a party in the middle of the woods? And they're like, sure, cool, let's go. I'm down. I just love their reaction. They're just looking at each other like, is she fucking serious right now?
Yeah, he's like, this is some pretty big equipment you got there. And he's like, thanks.
Thanks. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I am not. Somebody's going to come in here because we're going to be like making all these offhanded comments about these ladies going meat hunting, right? At the meat market.
Literally.
We'll get to it. But listen, I'm not judging these people for ladies that do this because dudes do the same fucking thing. It's no different.
And it's okay.
It's not. It's the same shit. I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just the same shit.
Let's say something here. It's a fucking movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
The way that these women are portrayed on film, of course, it goes in a direction that you don't expect, but also it's like, you got to look at the time when this movie was made.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's okay. Like, we don't.
Predators gotta hunt, dude.
We make jokes on this podcast. It doesn't matter who it's about. We're gonna make jokes about it to whoever's expense. And if you're offended by it, sorry, but it's not going to stop.
I'm just getting in front of it, just so you know, is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
fish can swim.
I feel like 126 episodes into this thing, people should understand how the show goes.
Remember
what comes out of our mouths.
Penis is the barrel. The town's the fish. Fish in a barrel. Tommy Boy reference.
All right, there we go.
Come on, dude, it's a Tommy Boy. Town's the fish, people the barrel.
As I said to somebody who was just like, somebody said a quote to me one day. It's like, oh man, you should know where this is from because they know I do a podcast about movies, and they're like, oh, you should know what this is from, and I'm like, you want to know something? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I am awful at quotes. I am terrible at quotes. I could see a movie 50 times, and you could say a quote from that movie, and I'd be like, I don't know, man. Sorry.
I get it, dude.
I did at work the other day, and I was like, the few that do know that I podcast are gone to other stores. And I'm like, have no idea what you just said. And they're like, you don't know this movie? And I'm like,
well, no, I don't. I'm not making. I just make a big deal out of it. It's just for theatrics. I don't really give a shit if you know or not. Because some people say like quotes from movies I should know, and I'm like, sorry, dude, I just don't remember right now.
Sorry,
those lines aren't connected at the moment.
So we then hop back to Mr. Wilkins' house, where he's having a conversation with Charlie about, don't be a piece of shit, kid. And the rules of Halloween, you get a lot of, he's terrified. Like, he's scaring the shit out of this kid. He's like carving a pumpkin really aggressively. He's like got the knife out. But it's not even that's going to get Charlie, that's going to take him out. It's going to be a poisoned candy bar, because he eats this candy bar and he just vomits uncontrollably. A fountain of chocolate comes out of this boy.
The best.
Said, what the hell did this kid eat? I said he had just vomited up all of last week's food.
So
the guttural noise he makes from vomiting was like fucking crazy.
And I have a hard time listening to people throw up.
Yeah, she won't even hold my hair back.
Listen, I have caught kids throw up in my hands, and that's enough to almost do me in. To hear people throw up, I was just like, ugh.
The crazy thing is that this kid loves to be covered in chocolate, because he was in Bad Santa. I don't know if you've ever seen Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. So he was the kid who was like with Billy Bob Thornton the entire time, and he was always covered in some sort of fucking something. It's just disgusting.
I mean, all I could think of was the kid from Willy Wonka that falls into the chocolate
river.
Yeah,
Galoop there?
Ugh.
Yeah. So, and he shares my name. His name is Brett Kelly. So yeah, he vomits uncontrollably. He's like a fountain of chocolate coming out of this kid's mouth. I love the behind the scenes. It's literally like a tube that they had on each side. So like if it would, depending on which side of his face they would have to film just to get that. And then sometimes they said they just melted a shit ton of chocolate and just put it in his mouth and just had him just spit it out. Yeah. It's a delightful scene. If you don't like watching people throw up, it's not a delight. Mm-hmm. It's not cool.
I had a hard time watching it.
It's very over the top. And I was like, it's
ridiculous.
And of course, he dies on Mr. Wilkins' lap. And the very next shot is Mr. Wilkins dragging his dead body into the house. But right as he gets him into the house, and of course, you're seeing. The funny thing is what I love about this movie is the fact that you find out Mr. Wilkins is a child killer, like he's a serial killer. And most of the time when you see like somebody make the kill, you don't see the after, like the prepping. If you're a fan of Dexter, Dexter always killed his victims, and sometimes you got to see him moving the body to his kill room, or it just would cut to him in, talking to the guy in the kill room. This movie shows Charlie die and then watching Mr. Wilkins drag, and of course he's dead, and this kid's not small. He's dragging him into the house, and of course he's like getting like still chocolate is like spitting up on him. And he's like, "Oh, come on, man!" Yeah. He's covered in blood, and it's fantastic. And then of course the doorbell rings. So there's 3 kids that come to the door. You have a girl dressed as an angel. You have one boy dressed as a pirate. Angela, what was the 3rd kid dressed up as?
I don't know.
See, we couldn't figure it out either.
I don't remember. So
all I could think of was the little kid from Finding Nemo, but I'm like, that didn't come out then.
What?
The dentist's niece.
Oh,
Darla.
Yeah, Darla.
So
no, maybe I can.
Maybe in the images, yeah.
So they come to the door. They ask for the pumpkins, and
where's your fucking candy, old man?
Mr. Wilkins is like, "Are you gonna smash them?" They're like, "No, they're for UNICEF." He's like, okay.
I remember that, by the way.
And of course, he gives them candy. And I love the fact that they all get candy, walk away, and then Sam walks up and he's just like, he doesn't even look at Sam. He's just like, "Did you get one? Take one. And then like gets back in the house.
See?
I just
give the man what he
alien.
wants.
Yep.
Just an alien of some
sort. It looks like an alien, yeah.
That's what she looks like.
So, Mr. Wilkins is he is having a hell of a time trying to bury this body. He drags it out to the backyard. He's already got a hole buried because there's already a kid or kids buried in this hole. And he pushes him into the hole. But then this is when you get the whole back and forth between him and his son. And he's yelling down to him. And he's just like, Dad, you help me carve a pumpkin?
Yeah.
You got to help me with the eyes.
Yeah.
He's just like, Billy, I'm busy. I'll be up there in a minute.
And he's like, dude, he's like
trying to whisper, but it's that
so
a loud
he's
whisper.
like, Dad, let's do something later. He's like, I can't, I've got a date. He's like,
yeah.
And never get to do anything.
Then you hear a dog barking. You look, there's like a dog like peeking underneath the fence, and he like gets down into the hole and he breaks off a finger from the body and like tosses it into the neighbor's yard, who you find out is Mr. Krieg, who comes out.
That finger was very wiggly, just saying.
Oh, that was a fresh finger.
There was no bone in that finger. No, the way it was wiggling this way.
Okay, well, you see in movies they use things called prosthetic limbs.
Limbs with a B.
That was more like a gummy finger. Saying.
Works for me.
It was cheap, okay? This movie was not. They didn't get a lot of money for this movie. Actually, $12 million was
actually pretty good budget.
Decent budget for a movie that didn't get a theatrical run. So you meet Mr. Krieg, who's the neighbor. He's the grumpy neighbor who comes out, and he's a wheezer. He's like, he was the entire time.
He was a smoker for years.
Y'all had to have been.
He's had a rough life, and we'll get to why. So he comes out, and he's asking questions. He sees that Mr. Wilkins, what are you doing down there?
Burying some bodies.
And he's just like, no.
He was not a smoker. I get. Never mind. I'll say in the.
Yes, please.
In the end.
And yeah, you get this whole thing, and then of course, as he's in the hole, a body is not fully dead. It wakes up, grabs onto Wilkins' leg. It's like trying to grab him, and he is. And this is the part, like we watched a kid die on the steps and watched his dead body get dragged through this house. But this was the part that was uncomfortable because this kid, this helpless kid who's in this hole, is still alive, trying to survive. He's grabbing onto his killer's, on his, potential killer's leg and trying to get, and you just see him beating the shit out of this kid with a shovel to the point though where he picks it up and fucking stabs him with the shovel.
And there's no screaming, so something had to have happened in this area with no screaming.
I'm just gonna state this: like, I didn't look into this too seriously. I just took this whole thing as this dude just has the worst fucking luck with shit tonight, and it's all comedy. Like, it's this
did it to himself.
I know. I'm just saying this whole section is just a comedy routine because he's like struggling to drag this big kid in the house. He's getting shit all over him. People won't leave him the fuck alone. He's trying to bury a body. Got the dog, his dumbass neighbor. The kid's not. One of them's not actually dead. So it's like, it was comedy. It was black comedy.
Yeah,
it was definitely great. That. No. Words that aren't coming to me right now.
Zucchini.
No.
I thought it might help.
It's the dry humor that's supposed to be, related to death.
Yeah, it's black comedy.
Well,
dark comedy.
Dark comedy. That's what I'm thinking.
So
I have that.
Before Mr. Wilkins gets out of the hole, though, Mr. Krieg goes back to the house or he yells like "Happy Halloween," and he's like "Screw you" as he goes into the house. But then when Mr. Wilkins, which is legit what Michael Dougherty describes Mr. Krieg as.
Makes sense. So
when Wilkins goes back into the house, he looks over and he sees that Krieg is like knocking at his window, like "Help me, Wilkins!" And he just looks over and he's like "Screw you." He walks into the house.
And this is where I pointed out, I'm like, he just got tackled.
Yeah, he gets fuck yeah.
See, I missed this scene. I must have been stood up or looked away or something. Maybe one of the time I got up.
It may have been.
Yeah,
I think you were looking at your phone at something.
I know I got up a time or two.
But you had looked down and I was like,
I was pretty decently invested.
He just got tackled.
Yeah.
He gets taken out. And he goes into his house, and of course, it's this whole thing where Wilkins is like, he's just so annoyed at Billy. He's just like, help me, Daddy, help me carve the pumpkin. Daddy, help me with the eyes. Daddy, why is Mommy not around anymore? Like,
and I'm sitting here thinking,
I want to know why Mommy's not, like, exactly what happened.
Oh, he killed her, 100%.
Probably.
That's what I said. I'm like, did he kill her too?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, he's like, why aren't you spending time with your kid? Like, clearly the kid wants some interaction from dad that he's not getting.
Little goblin of a child he has.
Oh, he's not a goblin. He wants some attention that he's not getting.
I love this whole setup though, where he goes through the house, he grabs the knife, he goes down to the basement really slowly. You see Billy's down there at this like workbench, and he goes down there and he raises up the knife like he's gonna kill Billy, and he comes down and he's just like, and you see like blood kind of pour on the table, but then you see that that Billy's still alive, and they're gonna carve up Charlie's head.
Because I had made mention, he said something like, the kid's not pointing out any of this is weird.
Yeah, because when his dad's in the backyard, he's not trying to cover it up.
Nope.
He sees his dad playing his day what he's doing in the backyard.
Yeah. He plants a tree, by the way, with where the hole was.
But I said, at this time, I was like, this is why the kid doesn't think anything is weird, because dad's teaching him to, follow in his footsteps.
Here's how you be a serial killer, son.
Exactly.
So
I'm assuming... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
I'm assuming his dad was like that, too. Because he refers to it as like, that time my dad set me straight.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to do this, just like Grandpa showed me.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. There you go.
So those vague connections, this movie has a lot of them.
So we are then back with those three kids that took the pumpkins from Mr. Wilkins, where they're kind of like the primary focus now. And they're going around collecting more jack-o'-lanterns. You see the three kids show up at the Key Party house where this teacher is trying to get these kids in the house, get them drunk, and have them do things. Not cool, lady. Not cool at all. But she's fucking
like,
gone.
You want a drink?
Yeah, you want a drink? And
the one's like, sure.
But then I love the pirate kid who peeks over and he's just like sees you don't see anything, but you just see like this dude dressed up as a hot dog just fucking humping something. What the fuck,
a pig,
man?
Dude. Butt fucking a pig, man.
Yeah, thanks. We're gonna go now.
Yes.
They then meet up.
He's like, well, he says the teacher's name.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm pretty sure he is butt fucking a pig. I was like, well, he's not wrong.
Oh. We then meet Schrader, who is he seems a little older, but I guess he's the same age as these other kids. But he's got a cart full of pumpkins, but clearly it's not enough for Macy, bitch.
We get more references in this scene.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any luck finding pumpkins? Like, yeah, somebody had a bunch of them in front of his house, but somebody kept knocking them all off on the ground.
Some knocked them off and
was knocking out breaking jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah,
smashed them or something.
Charlie. Yep. So they then meet up with Rhonda, who is we're not going to say what word they actually call her, but they're going to work a genius savant or or special needs, someone on the spectrum.
Yep.
And one of the kids says a not very nice word about her.
Yeah.
A couple of times, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
So they meet up with her. She has a lot of pumpkins, so I think that's kind of why they asked her to come along, because they needed 8 pumpkins for the thing that they're going to do. So they go to an old rock quarry, and this is when you get the whole story about the legend of the Halloween school bus massacre. And there were 8 kids, special needs kids, that were on this bus, that the bus driver was paid off by the parents of the children to pretty much kill them, to drive this bus off this cliff into this rock quarry, kill the kids, this whole thing.
This was the 50s, like we talked about, or at least seems like the 50s.
Yes. You can tell by the costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were considered an embarrassment because of either non-legitimate children or out of wedlock or because they have conditions.
Special needs, and the parents were
kind of
exhausted
with them.
Apparently. But,
Which of that time, not that surprising.
It's not surprising, but you just assume that these kids are all like close to teenage age.
I assume they're about the same age as these other kids, right?
Or right around there.
Something like that. So
that they've had to have this stretch of time where they know how their kids are going to act.
Yeah.
So it's not anything new.
So I read these kids were actually special needs kids. The ones playing these characters.
Okay.
We feel even worse.
But it doesn't actually happen to them.
But it makes you feel really bad for the boy that wants to go home.
Oh yeah, but I'm glad they used actual special needs people for this. I think it's neat.
I think it's all done really well. This whole sequence. The fact that, they get to the edge of the cliff and the bus driver gets up, and of course you don't know, because the entire time they're driving, you don't know they're all chained up until he walks down each aisle and he checks the chain. And of course you have the kid dressed up as Dracula or a vampire, depending on what you want to consider it. And they, he's pretty much going to essentially put a rock or something on the gas pedal, send the bus over the side while he's on the outside, and then kind of, I guess, consider it an accident, or no one's ever going to find this bus.
That he was using the candy, kind of like Mr. Wilkins did, that something was in it that they were going to eat.
I didn't think of that. I just thought it was kind of just like to chill them out or something.
Not to poison them, but it had to have had something in it to keep them occupied. So it could have had
sedatives or something in it?
A sedative or something in it that would keep them...
I didn't think about that. I just thought of what Parker said. That's a good hit.
So, but everything goes bad when the Dracula kid is able to get out of his restraints, and he goes to the driver's seat, and the whole time he's going, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home, to the point where he drives the bus straight off the cliff.
Yeah.
And the next scene is the bus driver crawling out of the water, and then all you see is the masks floating up.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause that's just like, how could you do that to your kid?
Yeah. So, this is when you get back to the kids, and they're, they have 8 pumpkins for the 8 kids, and they're going to go down there and I guess pay tribute to them or something like that. That was kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so they go down this like really like rickety elevator, and you get the whole thing where
I've ridden a couple of those.
Schrader, Macy, and the other kid who was dressed up as the alien, I can't remember what her name was, they're sent down because they're like, only 3 can fit safely. And the kid, the pirate kid, is like, okay, cool.
He's just kind of there for fodder.
Yep.
We then, before we get to the rest of that scene, we then jump back to a woman she's having some sexy time in the alleyway with this cloaked figure who you actually see earlier during the party shot with the women there, the Anna Paquin and her gang there.
Yeah.
And because there's the time where I think Anna Paquin's on the phone. Oh no, that's a little bit later. Never mind. So yes, this woman is, making out with this dude, and he ends up biting her on the neck, causing her to bleed, and she's like covered in blood. And then she, of course, gets scared and runs away, and he chases after her to the point where she goes out to the middle of the party screaming for help, and no one believes her because they all think it's, it's Halloween. They all think it's just a joke. They're like, look at this. She's really taking it seriously.
Oh, she's just drunk.
And then he ends up killing her.
Most of them are.
Well, she grabs onto the first 2 people we see at the movie that die.
Emma and her husband. Dies. Yep.
Yeah. He pulls her away. He's like, oh, she's just drunk. Pulls her wife away from the crazy lady.
And he ends up killing her and setting her up next to the other drunkards to kind of play it off like she's also drunk. And then he just walks away.
Yep.
So we go back to the quarry. Rhonda and Pirate Boy finally go down to the bottom of the quarry, and they get out, and it's really foggy down there. Doesn't make much sense how it's not foggy above, but it's just foggy down below.
Well, it's close by the water, so I understand that.
I will point this out.
Really thick.
During this, I think it's during the elevator ride down. I believe it is. It's either getting onto the elevator when they're going down, you hear a wolf.
Yes, you do. Right before they're about So you're like, oh shit. Okay. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie before, you're just like, oh, it's just a wolf. For somebody who has seen the movie many times, you're like, that was that piece that you kind of like piece together, like a puzzle.
Yeah,
it's great.
Connections.
There was a lot of puzzle pieces connecting it from someone who's put puzzles together. you find that one piece that you can't figure out where it goes, and then you finally figure out where it goes, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This was this movie. The whole time.
So they're going down the elevator, and it cuts back to the Halloween party. It shows Lori on the phone with her sister. The sister and her friends are already at this like wooded party going on, and she's still there, and she sees the cloaked guy in the crowd. And her sister's telling her like the fact like, oh, I found you somebody. He's great. And it's just a big dude dressed up as a baby.
He's very, very nice. You mean he's ugly?
He's hideous.
Listen, beggars can't be choosers.
So funny because her sister has like this really hot guy. And it's like, well, apparently you didn't care about your sister, even though you're like, who's your favorite sister? It's like, she's probably your only sister.
then you get one line in here I love is there after she gets off the phone with her, or was it this the scene where after she gets off the phone with her, she's like, why are you worried about her so much? Just let her do her thing. I was like, well, mom was, she was the run of the litter. Mom always has to worry about me, wanted me to always look after her or something.
It was around this time where she says that. Yeah.
So Rhonda and Pirate Boy finally get to the bottom of the quarry, and they hear screaming from the others. And they're like, oh, shit. So they go around, and, of course, she gets separated from Pirate Boy, and Rhonda is, like, she finds Macy's costume all ripped up. She finds Schrader's mask in the water. And then she goes around and she sees Pirate Boy is all torn up, and his intestines are spilling out of him. And, she sees the zombie kids, and, oh, no, and she runs away and then trips and hits her head. And she wakes up to it all being a practical joke. But to the point where she is terrified, period. Like, she is just wants nothing to do with these kids.
I don't blame her.
But then something creepy really happens, and the actual zombie kids come out and come after them, to the point where Rhonda gets on the elevator and just leaves their asses down there.
Yeah.
No regrets.
No.
Because, I mean, what is Schrader? He's like calling up to her, telling her to, let him in. I'm like, dude, you're the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah. Why
should she believe you now?
No.
Yeah, Schrader was kind of that guy from...
I thought he was going to be different.
Yeah.
And he was not.
I feel like they kind of played it off like he wanted to be. Like, it was like Macy, like, really forced him to do it. It was kind of like in Carrie, the guy who brings her to the prom. Yep. In a way, even though I feel like he was a little bit better than this guy.
That's how I felt. I was like, gosh, he's going to be the good guy. And then he turns out to not be. And I was like, fuck you, dude.
So she just leaves him. And and she even waves at him, which I thought was a great little touch. Just the fact that she's just like, bye. And then, of course, you don't see any of these kids get killed. You just hear screaming, and you hear, like, disgusting noises of them being torn apart down there.
Yep.
And Rhonda,
I love our subtitles is like flesh tearing. And I was like,
just blood curdling scream.
Yeah.
She comes out of the elevator with the pumpkin in her wagon. And, of course, you see Sam walking towards the edge of the cliff, which is awesome. And they both look at each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just walk and they don't see it. There's nothing is said.
Nope.
It's so good.
He's like, yep, you do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. Bye.
Ah, so good. So we then jump back to Lori, who is walking to the wooded party. She's walking down the dark path, just like the costume the character of the costume that she is wearing, Little Red Riding Hood. She is walking to her grandmother's house. She's hearing noises. Oh, what's happening? And then she gets attacked by the cloaked man, and he bites her, and she screams. And you're like, oh shit. But then you jump to the party, and a fucking body just drops out of the sky.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, but you don't know who it is.
It's her cloak.
Yes, because it is her cloak. So you're like, oh shit, did she get hurt? But the funny thing is it's not her, because the sisters don't react in a way where they would think it's her.
And see, I didn't get that until
So the sister goes over, uncovers it, and who is it? Mr. Wilkins.
Because I love the way that shows, movies make people react like you think it's gonna be
You think
the
it's one thing,
person.
but it's another. Yeah.
You think it's gonna be that person, and it's not. And like everybody reacts to it possibly being her, and it's not. It's like it's
fantastic.
great.
So he's begging for them to help them or help him, and they're just like, no, this is her first time. She needs, you're all hers. And of course, this is when we get to see Lori break out of her skin, if you know what I mean. And
I was like, wait a minute, what's going on?
So you find out that this whole thing is a like initiation type thing for werewolves. All these women are werewolves.
Yep.
And the way that they become werewolves is so crazy and so well done.
So good.
They instead of just transforming into werewolves, the human skin is just like a costume, which is funny because this is a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Yep. They're just ripping it off like it's like a shirt or pants. And
so my initiation into werewolf movies was American Werewolf in Paris. Or
London. Please be London. Okay. Thank
London.
You.
Sorry. London. No. And you know it's going to be, or Teen Wolf, where you know it's going to be painful. And here they are, like, pulling it off like it's nothing.
Yeah,
like, it's just, they've got just another costume on. And I was like, shit.
And it's not even that simple as it just being another costume. You could see, like, when they pull it off, that it's not just, like, a costume they're wearing. Like, it's moist and stuff under the skin. So it's still them transforming. It's like they just rip the shit off.
It's not painful. Like,
it doesn't appear to be, no.
It doesn't appear to be as painful as that, where you're like hearing them scream in pain.
I wonder if it's something you just get used to. Like, the more you do it.
Which it could be, because the one girl gets her
sex analogy,
her back split open before she, pulls her skin off.
The way you said it just clicked for me. Not just the main girl. What the fuck's her name? Of the group that we focused on, that was Little Red.
The sister?
Lori?
Yeah, Lori. Not her.
Her sister.
Yes, but there's a scene and it just made me think of this, where one of the other werewolves goes behind the other one and puts like a slit down the back.
Yeah. She's like,
but it just maybe
it's not her. It's not like she's using a razor blade. She's using her nail. She's already transformed. She's using her nail.
But do you know what it made me think of? It just made me think of just help somebody unzip their dress.
Yeah.
Like, let me get that off. Like, that's what I thought of. Or like Austin, like you said. Like, I was just like,
her sister and friends are so used to this. Her first time.
Yep.
Her first time doing it. But you see them, they're all like, this is another night for them.
It's cool.
But it's weird and cool at the same time, because I know what I was initiated to, as opposed to this is their usual, like, once a month. It's their period.
It could be. I don't know if it's once a month, but
Full moon. It
could be an analogy for that. It could be. I don't know.
That's how you're introduced to werewolves. It's a full moon thing.
That's true.
It could be their monthly.
Well, and the fact that you don't realize, another thing is you never realize what's going on, because this party, when you see it, the only time it really shows much is when it shows the baby dude. But other than that, almost all the shots, you never see the ground.
Yep. And you never really see any male characters. It's always the females.
Yeah, just the baby dude. And that one time, the one guy comes up behind her and starts kissing on her neck, tells him not now.
He says the wrong name, or she says the wrong name.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. That's really good cinematography. It just never shows the ground until what you're about to get to.
So a lot of things relate to this one scene. The whole transformation was kind of a nod to The Howling, which is the Joe Dante werewolf film from the early 80s. The effects artist who did all of the werewolf effects was also the one who did all the lichen effects in the Underworld movies. So
it's all practical, isn't it, for the most part?
Yes, there's like CG enhancements here and there.
Okay.
I liked the underworld effects. I know a lot of people didn't.
Those are movies I really want to revisit because I remember watching the first one. I think that's the only one I've ever seen, and I actually enjoyed it. I think it's probably mostly because Kate Beckinsale is gorgeous.
I remember your granny watching it.
She likes the underworld movies.
She really liked it, and I remember you making a negative comment while she was watching it, and I was like, I don't see what the problem is, but
I don't remember.
I was, I wasn't as familiar with those types of movies. So watching her watch that and watching her get so excited at certain...
That's awesome.
His granny was awesome.
Oh yeah, she's great. She introduced me to a lot of old movies. It's good stuff. Oh,
I just love
keep going.
certain memories of her, because she was so much different than my grandmother.
Yeah.
We would go and get her cigarettes at least once a month for her. It was one of those, she would always have a pack by her.
That and Diet Pepsi.
And Diet Pepsi. Can you go get me a Diet Pepsi out of the fridge? Make sure you put another one in.
Yeah.
So it's cool the next time I need one. And it was just a constant.
I always remember yelling out, "Hey, can you come down here and get me a pack of cigarettes or get me a Diet Pepsi?" Like, we were upstairs. She's older, so of course we went down and did it, but...
Liggett Gold.
Ugh. It's all nasty.
Anytime we'd go out to eat, my grandma would always get Diet Coke with a lemon as her drink, and then she'd always get a black coffee after she was done with her lunch or dinner.
Interesting.
Every time.
She was a Diet Pepsi and slow gin lady.
Who? Grandma?
Yes.
I've never seen Grandma drink before.
Oh my gosh, when we went to
I'm glad you remember this. I don't.
What's her face's
bar? Judy's bar.
Judy's bar.
That makes sense.
It was a Diet Pepsi and slow gin.
I didn't even know that.
That was the night that I had first got plastered. It was right after your grandfather's funeral. They had to walk me to the car. That's the first time I've ever really had alcohol.
This, so
it was his.
I remember the thing after the funeral.
It was his aunt's bar that she owned.
Yeah.
Your granny outdrank me.
That doesn't surprise me. She's been around a while at that point, so
it was one of the best nights. Like, there are certain memories that I have of his granny that he does not remember, and it's just because me and her had certain things that we liked together. He was not a drinker. I wasn't really. I was more introduced to alcohol when I was with him.
Kind of, sort of.
Because your side of the family drinks and mine does not.
Ain't no shit in there.
So there are certain things that I remember, and that's one of the things. Drinking with your granny.
Well, I never did. I need to go drink with my aunt. She can knock them back. At one point I need to. But anyhow, I wanted to see The Howling. I've never seen those movies.
Yes, that's definitely something we're going to cover at some point.
And we were given that movie.
Howling?
Yeah.
Oh.
We were given it to watch. We had to give it back because we never watched it.
Oh.
Because we had friends. They're like, "Hey, you need to watch this." It sat on our movie shelf because we both worked. I worked nights. I worked nights. He worked days. We couldn't watch it.
No, it didn't happen.
And we just ended up like, we can't watch this, so we're gonna give it back to you. Okay, we'll watch it
eventually.
Another interesting fact about like this whole werewolf part of the movie is the fact that the place that they meet is called Sheep's Meadow.
Yeah,
and the fact that you get the whole thing of a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Pretty cool.
And the whole part that we thought that Anna Paquin's character was a vampire.
We couldn't figure it out. We're like, oh, there's vampires now.
And I'm like, she's in a vampire show the year after this.
Yeah.
That's why I had to ask her. I was like, what the fuck did True Blood come out?
Yeah.
It's the same character.
Yeah, because I'm a True Blood fan.
Yeah.
So she is the only one who doesn't transform into a werewolf. She just has like the fangs and the eyes, of course.
Yeah,
which I think are like the CG enhancements that they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she kills Mr. Wilkins.
Hey.
He deserved it.
Yeah. So we then go to my favorite part of this movie, which is Mr. Krieg and everything that happens in his house. So
Yes.
Mr. Krieg, of course, we saw earlier in the Mr. Wilkins section of the movie, where he is like Dan said, the Scrooge of Halloween. He is just not about it, doesn't deal with trick-or-treaters. He actually scares the shit out of trick-or-treaters with his dog.
Oh,
He puts
God,
the
yeah.
mask on with the
That was
glowing
so good.
eyes and the skeleton costume. It's so good. So I love it how the kids run away, drop their candy, and he takes their candy, goes in the house,
Yep.
sits down, tries one, and spits it out.
That would be me.
That's what you get, you fucking
Candy tax.
crotchety bastard.
And he's flipping through the TV, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island."
I couldn't figure out what movie. What was the movie before that?
Oh,
Did I know?
no.
Shit.
Oh, it
There
was
two,
was it House on Haunted Hill?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Vincent
said,
Price
this is
one?
the first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, that's the original House on Haunted Hill, and then the
Yeah.
other one came up. I knew it was Scooby Doo, but I didn't know which one it was.
I saw it.
Zombie Island's
It
a
was
good
the
one.
werewolf one, the werewolf transformation scene from that movie. I was like, that's my fucking. I love that movie.
Good movie.
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island is in my opinion, the
And
greatest
you're not a
Scooby Doo movie.
Scooby-Doo
But I've
fan
seen it.
either.
It's a good
I
movie.
know.
It's so good.
You're not a Scooby-Doo
It's so
fan.
good.
I'm not a Scooby Doo.
Great effects, great voice acting. Frank Welker,
See,
our boy
Always.
Frank.
I mean,
Always gotta talk about our boy Frank.
Yes.
So, Mr. Wilkins, he's chilling, trying to find something on TV, but he hears somebody. He hears a little kid laughing and running around outside the house.
What's he watching on TV? The guy for the infomercial guy. You said who it
Oh,
was.
I can't remember his name, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen this infomercial
No.
so many times.
it's the set it and forget it guy.
That's
Yes.
It's like
That's it.
I was like, I know this infomercial. I have
That
watched it, and I was like,
infomercial.
oh, set it and forget
She
it.
brought it up.
That
I
infomercial
love it.
is embedded in my brain because I swear to God, because I'd be up at like 11 midnight, before school, you'd be sitting up there, you're like
Yes.
trying to fall asleep and you'd have the TV on in this fucking infomercial, that fucking rotisserie thing. That
Yes.
you could put a fucking 7-pound sirloin in there and fucking, it fucking comes out.
Yes.
Look how good it is.
Because I'm like,
Set it and
fuck.
forget it.
I know this because I had said it right when he was, right as he was putting those little fork things in the rotisserie. I'm like, that's the set it and forget it guy.
Oh my God. It's
'Cause
perfect. So good.
It was between him and what's his face. Says, but wait, there's more.
Billy Mays.
Yes, Billy
Yes,
Mays. Oh my
R.I.P..
gosh.
R.I.P.
Oh.
Yep.
I was like, this is when you knew it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Right before the infomercial with the songs.
Oh my God. I love
Oh,
the
I
TikToks of
know.
people doing that.
I'm like, yep,
It's
it's
so
time to go to
good.
bed.
Oh, it's amazing.
Because it was either the infomercials or MASH.
God, the 90s were great.
When MASH started playing, like, yeah, bye.
I'd wake up. And you're like, what the fuck? George Lopez is on. I can't sleep now.
Dude. Okay. Hey, we may have a
I love
date.
it.
Oh,
We may have a tentative date.
all right.
The
me.
set it and forget it commercial. I got one that goes back to 1998.
Okay.
I mean,
It could make sense. It's like at the end of like the VHS era,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
between like the late 90s, early 2000s. That's kind of what I remember. Like I think it was like early 2000s when I remember that commercial.
Same.
and there were so
Um,
many infomercials at this time.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that one. There was so many other ones.
Yeah.
And it was always the live audience that they were like,
Oh, how much you pay these fucking people off with? Like, how much money did you give them? Here, have some of this shitty product we're trying to push on people.
I was
Right?
like, how much shit did how much shit did these guys go through to earn the money that they did? And they earned a lot.
Yeah, they sure did. So Mr. Krieg is trying to figure out who this little bastard is running around his house or running outside his house. And he runs out his front door to scare him. And there's just jack-o'-lanterns everywhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay.
Yes.
And he goes, and then he hears that somebody's inside the house. So he goes in there, he's investigating, he's looking around, he's yelling, he's like, talking about how he's got a shotgun and all this stuff. And that's when he he's at like the bottom of his stairs. He looks up and you see Sam up on the top, and he like runs by, and he's like, so he goes up there to investigate. He goes in his room, and you see like the sheet moving, but it just turns out to be like a mechanical little like, battery powered hand that people would have on Halloween. And then he turns around and gets it fucking deep right in the Achilles. Just
dude, it's a deep cut, dude.
Wow, god damn, I felt it. That.
It's a clean cut too.
I felt that
when it shows
so
his
bad.
leg.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And of
Dude's
course,
name was Ron Popeil. If you needed to know the set up Forget It game.
that sounds that he looks like a Ron Popeil. He just looks like that kind of guy.
Like I was literally quoting the infomercial because that was what I grew up on.
Set it and forget it.
It's kind of dude you don't want to buy a car from because you probably can assume it's a piece of shit.
He was great, but yeah, like this whole scene, I was like, shit, how deep did he cut him?
Deep.
Oh, he got it so good, dude.
Deep.
I was like, this is Hostel memories where the dude gets his whole Achilles cut.
When something like this happens and you quiver, it's effective. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he looks at the bed. He kind of like crawls up and try to like peek over the bed, and then you see the hands coming up on the other side, and
because you don't see him.
Yeah, and Sam gets up, and does he end up attacking him in the room, or does he just kind of run out?
I can't remember.
Did he not try and attack him again?
Oh, yes, he does. He attacks him to the point where he peels the candy bar that has the blade.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So this candy bar that he uses that has the blade, it wasn't one that was created by Sam. This is the candy bar that Sam got from Mr. Wilkins.
Yes.
Because Mr. Wilkins,
it's what's the candy bar called? It's their own brand.
It's Heidi Ho.
Heidi Ho.
Like that.
It's either Holly Ho, because it says it on my shirt.
It's
right
some
HOLLIE.
It has to be that one.
Holly
Ho.
Holly
Ho. Yeah.
And
I didn't think about that. Holy shit!
I didn't think about it. Again, another thing you kind of pick up on as you go. You're like, that's the candy bar he got from Mr. Wilkins, because Mr. Wilkins laced or put blades in all of his candy because he was out to kill kids.
Because that was the only one he picked up.
Yep. And so he uses it. He attacks Mr. Krieg. They wrestle in the hallway to the point where he falls down the stairs, which are covered in like glass shards and
razor blades
and stuff. And man, where he picks up his hands, he's just got glass embedded in his palms. He's and he's trying to pick up everything about this entire sequence is fucking awesome. Like, it's just set up so well. The fact he's like trying to grab the shotgun with the fucking glass in his hands, he can't do it. He's like screaming.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
man.
He had to have stepped on something hard, like not Jolly Ranchers, but
he just sprinkle Legos on the fucking steps. The same. Like, God,
what's a worse one, razor blades or Legos?
You get
at least with razor blades, they're flat on the ground.
Like Sixlets, but not that. It had to be something like Gobstoppers.
Yeah, there's something really hard.
Something hard.
Oh man, I could go for a box of Gobstoppers. That's one candy. Even if I was like, I'm never eating candy again, somebody gave me a box of Gobstoppers, I'm fucking destroying that box. I fucking love Gobstoppers. Gobstoppers, Mike and Ike's, and Runts are three.
Yeah, I was about to say Runts.
Three candies I will fucking destroy anytime anyone gave it to me.
And it has to be the OG Runts
with the bananas.
The bananas.
That's the only banana flavored stuff that I like.
I mean, to be honest, I eat the banana ones. I have to mix it with the other flavors, though. Gotta have a.
I always threw it out, but it's the lime ones that were not the lime.
They were green
shaped
apple
ones.
Oh,
it had to have been the.
I don't think.
Small...
Can you even get OG Runts anymore?
You can't.
Yeah,
you cannot.
Sad. It's just like when they changed. They changed the lime Skittle to a green apple, and then they changed it back because. No one wants green apple fucking Skittles.
No.
It's the same with no one wants green apple Jolly Ranchers. They're fucking disgusting. Sorry.
I don't mind it, but they're not the best flavors. No. Watermelon.
Don't get me wrong. I like green apple flavored things, but certain things are just gross.
Listen,
green apple caramel pops.
I'm a grape guy. I like grape Jolly Ranchers or cherry.
Okay.
There you go.
So I have so many rants about green apple.
Let's not make this a 3-hour
No,
episode.
no. I'm not. So when they brought in the green apple Skittles, I was prepared for, green apple, the green apple caramel lollipops.
Yeah.
It's that sour apple. Not, I don't need a green apple that actually tastes like apple. Fuck that.
Like a red apple. Like tastes like a red
Like,
apple.
But it actually tastes like an. But it actually tastes like an apple. No, I want the sour candy. Sour apple.
Okay, so like I like the green apple sour Skittles.
Yeah.
But
they
that's
tasted
different.
better. Yeah.
That's
or like
different.
Green apple Laffy Taffy. Good.
I've had that.
That's good.
It's good. It tastes like more like sour apple.
Yeah, or Airhead.
Where you're
Airhead.
Exactly.
They're like taffy, more like green apple taffy of some sort. It's good. Green apple hard candy? Nah.
No, it tastes like an actual like Granny Smith apple.
And I love Granny Smith apples, but I'd rather eat a Granny Smith apple
Me too.
than
Me
have
too.
that green apple candy.
Yep.
So my rant with that is the whole Witch's Brew Alani. This one. They have a Witch's Brew flavor energy drink. It literally tastes like a real sour apple, Granny Smith apple covered in caramel. Was not prepared for that. I was prepared for more like the candy.
Yeah.
So that's I hate when anything says green apple.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Yeah. Don't do that to me. Exactly. That's when I tasted it. I was like, well, I'm gonna drink it because I bought it. But
so once Mr. Wilkins, oh god damn, I did it again. Mr. Krieg, fucking Jesus Christ, whatever. Same guy, right?
Somebody.
No, I'm just kidding.
Same shit.
Yeah. So he gets attacked on the bottom of the stairs by Sam, and this is where you get the great scene where he's crawling on the ceiling, trying to figure out where he is. He's trying to call. Oh no, that wasn't yet. But Sam falls on top of him. They wrestle. He ends up ripping his sack, not the one that's on his head, one that's on his head, and he sees what's underneath the sack, and that is Sam's actual head, which is a pumpkin. It's literally looks like a jack-o'-lantern, and he ends up shooting Sam. I love the shot where he shoots him with the shotgun, and he just flies across the room, slides into the wall, and of course he goes down to kind of investigate him, and of course you see that like Sam is made out of pumpkin bits.
Yep.
it's so good.
It's great. He goes up to him, he looks at him, and he shoots him a couple more times, like blasting off his hand, and you just see pumpkin shit just flying everywhere.
Yes.
It's great. And then that's when he tries to call the police, but the line gets cut.
Yep.
And this is when you get the whole thing where it's like the hand crawling back to the body, and which is cool. This is actually the actor who played Sam. This was a little boy who played Sam. This is his actual hand. They just put a green sleeve on his arm. Yeah. And he did the motion to put Sam back together.
Because he's like touching him on the leg.
Yeah. I just love I love Sam's scream too. He like does this like high pitched screech.
So
like he's like a creature. He's like a demon of some sort. And he puts himself back together and he goes after Krieg again. But Krieg is able to knock over a bowl that had that candy bar he tried earlier. And Sam stabs him in the chest and you think he kills him, but he ends up stabbing the candy bar. And Sam looks at it, kind of nibbles on it.
Krieg's whole thing. He's like,
yeah.
It's like he's like opens his one eye. He's like, "Is it okay?"
But the great thing is he stabs the candy bar, and that stops him from killing him. But that's the thing. It's like, why do you like here? This is something I don't know. Like, I don't know the answer to this question. But why do you think Sam stops attacking him after this?
I know why.
Like, actually,
I think so.
Okay,
but I'll tell you later.
I think he just wanted candy.
The dude just wants candy. Like he's the trick. Like he's supposed to keep you honest with. You're supposed to give out candy.
So you think that
You're
the
supposed to
reason
not-
that he was attacking him was the fact that he doesn't celebrate Halloween?
They have. That's the same reason he attacked the lady at the beginning.
I
She
think,
turned her shit off early.
But see, I think that's the reason, because he writes all over Krieg's
Yes,
walls.
which is what's all over this cup. It's like the it's
Yeah.
the whole trick or treat.
It's
You
smell my feet, give me something good to eat.
Yep.
So I just assumed that if it wasn't tasty, that he would have attacked him, but he liked it.
So he was like,
it was
okay.
fine.
I like he puts back on the sack. It's still a little ripped by where the mouth is, and that's where he's
Yep.
able to taste the treat. And he just walks out. I love how he opens the door with like his magic.
the door.
Whoop, and just see ya.
Well, and also we
He's
didn't
like, "Hi."
we didn't mention earlier is before he goes to stab Krieg, he pulls out the lollipop with the pumpkin on and then
And he
bites it
Yeah.
to get that serrated edge on it.
And
He's gonna
and that's what he stabs
kill him.
Krieg with is the lollipop.
Yep.
Also, forgot to mention the fact that this is where you get the reverse shot of Krieg getting attacked, because this is the one where he's knocking at the window calling for Wilkins. Like, Wilkins, help me! And then, of course, Sam is the one that's attacking him, where earlier you don't really know who it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sam just walks out. I love it. And again, great choice to actually get a small child to play Sam, because it's just adorable seeing him just mosey on out with his little footy pajamas. Just see ya,
Got my
bye.
candy, motherfucker. See ya.
Yeah, I'm like,
With
Sam, you're the best.
The little butt flap and the.
No.
The great thing about Sam is, like, since we all love Halloween so much, he could be our friend. He could just be our little friend. Like, I'll give you all the candy, Sam. Come on over.
Yeah.
We can hang out.
Give him a little bit.
It's like, hey,
Big
everybody,
handful.
on today's
There you go, bro.
podcast, we got Sam the Demon. What's up, Sam? He just stands there the whole time.
He's a candy demon.
One day I will own a life-size Sam. I'm going to get a life-size Sam to be, once I get my
candy
studio
tax.
done, life-size Sam will be in there at some point.
We'll be recording and
It'll fucking run away. Oh, shit.
Just keep a bowl of candy present.
Yes,
all fucking
all the
times.
time.
We'll just randomly
Oh,
see
Lord.
him go.
Yeah,
Just
licking his
pull it
lollipop.
back.
Jesus. So we then
Like, Parker,
Yeah.
I'm gonna check behind you.
So it's the same night. Krieg is all bandaged up. He gets some trick-or-treaters. And of course he gives out candy. And if you notice real close, this is something I didn't realize, but these kids that are these first kids that went to Krieg's house are the kids that are later in the hole in Wilkins' house. These are the kids that get killed by Wilkins and are in the hole before Charlie dies.
Didn't.
Wait a minute. That wouldn't work, though.
No, it
Because
does.
Wilkins, how does it work?
It does.
Because Wilkins sees him gets tackled after he kills Charlie.
Oh, that's true.
It wouldn't be those same kids. One of them has a similar clown costume, but it's there's no way it's the same kids, because that wouldn't make sense in the timeline.
I just assume.
Because when he's yelling at him through the window for
that
Wilkins
was
to help him, he
before
gets tackled, that's
then.
before.
Right. You're right. No, that
Yeah.
makes way more sense. Okay, scratch that. Scratch what I just said.
Mm.
I bet you see those kids walking around somewhere in the background, somewhere in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
But
Where they later go to Wilkins' house, like that's who they go to next and end up getting killed by him. I don't know. But of course, he goes back in the house. I love how one of the kids is like, "Oh, Mr. Krieg, I love your mummy costume."
oh yeah.
I love that.
Oh, did you see the candy he gives him? He gives him the worst fucking candy possible.
Yeah,
it's
it's awful.
mint, which I don't care. It's mint. It's the little Starlight mints and fucking butterscotch candy. Who the
Well,
shit
that's
wants
because
that?
that's all people have in their house, and he
That's
wasn't
true.
ready for trick or treating.
And he's pulling him out of his arm.
He's pulling him out of his,
Like-
his fucking sling. So, yeah, then
That's all he can carry. He can't carry chocolate and melt.
Mr. Krieg goes back in the house, and he, of course, is like, feels like he's done for the night, but then the doorbell rings again. He answers the door, and who is it? Oh, but actually, before this, he sees Sam by the tree.
Yeah.
You see Sam
Yeah.
again. They kind of have like a mutual, like, what's up?
And you
Hey.
see Sam watching
Yes.
the
You
first
see
character.
Emma and her husband
Yeah.
across the street, and this is when you actually see Sam himself react to what she does, and he runs across the street.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next time the doorbell rings, he answers, and it's the zombie bus kids, and you find out that he was the bus driver.
Yep.
of, yeah, he was the bus driver who killed those kids. And but you see that a little bit earlier, he burns a picture of him with all those kids in the bus. So
he was throwing a couple pictures in there.
I know why. Now that we've established this, because this is this
is
go
the
ahead,
end.
Park.
Well, no, I mean, this is the end. He gets attacked and killed by the kids in comic book form.
Yeah, the kids. Well,
cool.
the one Dracula kid says trick or treat.
Yes,
but I know why he doesn't. I think I know why he doesn't let him die. I think it could be passive, and I think it could not be, because I think this fits in the timeline. Because we've talked about in this movie, the timeline kind of jumps around a little bit, and it seems like everything we watch in the movie, the people dying in the beginning, is actually the end of the movie. It's the latest point in the movie.
Yeah, because you actually see the zombie bus kids in the beginning of the movie. They're the kids that are walking away from Mr. Krieg's house when you meet the first two characters, because of the fact that you see Sam meet those first two characters. Yeah, you see them walking off his porch.
So if you, this is why I think, you remember when he knocks on the door, when somebody knocks on the door and he goes to check it and there's nobody there, but there's jack-o'-lanterns?
Yeah.
Sam got the jack-o'-lanterns from the pit. Put the jack-o'-lanterns on his front porch.
Oh, there we go.
So I'm assuming to lure the kids to his house so they could get revenge for what happened.
Oh,
yeah, it's just like one big.
Dude, the dude wrote the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
What's the name of the director that does the movies from
Tarantino?
Yes, it's a Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino's the shit out of it.
It's a Tarantino horror film.
Film.
That's why I think Sam let him live. But I also think it's part of the candy thing. Because that's why he didn't do anything to Mr. whatever his name, Wilkins, or what the fuck his name is, because he got candy.
Yeah.
He didn't need to get involved in that. He got his candy, he's out. Even though it was laced and he ended up using it for something later.
Yep.
And it's not going to kill him anyway.
Yeah, and that's that's the thing is, I think, if you're a first time viewer, there's, like I said, this is a movie you have to watch. For one, this movie is well worth the multiple watches.
I'd agree.
And the fact that it's an anthology movie that really connects in a lot of ways, you're going to get something new every time you watch it. And it's very short.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like watching an episode of a TV show. If you think about it, a little extra, a little extra long episode. But yeah, that is Trick or Treat. All right, well, let's talk about our thoughts on Trick or Treat. We're going to start with Angela.
Your bad idea.
She did share her initial thoughts on the movie in the beginning, since she is the one who picked this movie. But let's since it was your first time, what did you think of it?
So I talked to Parker before we even started recording. You weren't in here, don't give me that look. I said, like, there's a certain point in the movie where they turned into werewolves. I was like, I feel like I'm watching a porno, but that doesn't take away from the movie. Like, this was so good. Like, I want to watch it again. Like, I know we can't watch it with the kids, but I want to watch it again. Like, coming from, there's certain movies that I've picked out, and I was like, what the hell was I thinking? This was not one of those. It was so good. Like, I can't wait to watch it again. So good.
All right, damn.
Well, of course, I didn't know what to think, but based on his previous films, or the films we have talked about before, King of the Monsters and Krampus, I assumed this was probably going to be good. And that's based on community reaction, Parker, that this was going to be good. And in fact, it was good. It was a very good movie, and I can see why this is a traditional film for people, because it really feels like, even though it's not done in the same way, and the timeline's kind of like the first season of The Witcher, with no clear states of like where shit takes place, but you're just supposed to figure it out. But it's not like annoying, or anything like that. It's just like you kind of got to figure it out yourself. Yeah. It doesn't hold your hand. But that's not it's not a knock against it. I'm glad it's the way it is. But I'm glad it's a different kind of anthology show. Like, I love Creepshow. Like, I absolutely adore that movie, and I can't wait till we talk about it. But it is good. It's like you said, the actors were great. Nobody like really big, but faces you've seen before in films, and the effects were cool, and even though like the kills weren't super violent or it wasn't like crazy violent over the top, it was just they were well done. They were well executed. There's a lot of, like you said, little connections, shit we probably missed. There's probably people listening to this like, no, you forgot about this and this. And
please let us know in the comments or DM us and let us know anything we missed, because there probably was quite a bit that we probably didn't pick up on.
Yeah, and
we'll talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
Oh, we forgot this.
Yeah.
Dougherty, like I said, wrote the shit out of this movie, and he did a brilliant fucking job of way more than a movie. No offense of this, you just it's just an anthology movie. Let's watch this. It's so well connected with itself. It's brilliant, and I'm glad we got to watch it. And it's cool that Brian Cox was in it. I'm really upset nobody said shenanigans at all in this movie. And then nobody would have got pistol whipped for it.
Oh,
but
man. An underappreciated role from Brian Cox.
That's all good. But yeah, they're all fun. Things go different directions you don't expect, and it's a really good time. If you have not seen it, I definitely recommend just giving it a shot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a Halloween staple. It's one of my favorite Halloween movies of all time. It's one of my favorite anthology films. It's so well paced, so well made. I love the fact that it's not your typical anthology where it's individual stories. You have individual stories, but they all kind of link together in some shape or form, and it's fantastic. I think Sam is one of the greatest like Halloween like figures. I love that he has like turned into this like mascot for the holiday now. Like he is just like he's everywhere. Like I said, you go to a Spirit Halloween and like half the store is Sam from Trick or Treat. Like it's insane that this movie that didn't even get a theatrical release until last year, 15 years after it was initially released on DVD, got its first showing in theaters. And the fact is it just crazy how big this movie is. I've seen this movie. I think the first time I saw this was probably a year after it came out on DVD, which was like 2010. It was around when I graduated high school. And I watch this every year, multiple times a year. And it's always a Halloween must. I have to watch this movie every single Halloween. It's so good. I'll probably watch it again, before Halloween this year. Like it's just, for one, it's beautifully paced, beautifully, like the runtime is nice and short. You can get this, like, it was funny because the movie ended and my wife went, "It's over already?" I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And what was the wife's verdict, actually?
She didn't watch a lot of it. She was busy. We went away for the weekend, so she was busy kind of prepping for that. It was like Friday. I was like, I got to watch this movie because I won't have time if I don't watch it any other time. So
maybe she can catch the next viewing.
Oh, yeah. It will be watched many times.
You need to bring her on.
We need her input on all the episodes.
Yeah, that might never happen, but maybe we'll see.
She can just give you like a little cue card, like a.
Do you want? I'll start doing that. It'll be like here's the segment called "Note from Wife," and it's just her thoughts on like an index card.
Yeah, index card. Just like fill out your opinion,
or even you
tell me what you thought,
or even you making little notes about what was said or done.
Or I can just record
yes
her
or no.
And be like, hey, what did you think of the movie?
Please.
And then I can insert it into the episode.
Please.
Yeah.
I need it. Coming from the only female on the show, I need it.
We need to look for, maybe we should bring in another female host. We can have 4 people on the show, so we can have
I'm quitting.
2 men, 2
Just kidding.
That'll be a little weird. No, I just need your wife to guest on one time.
I'll try. I'll try again. It's probably never gonna work, but I'll try my best.
Tell her
that I requested. Maybe she'll. Just one time.
But yeah, final verdict. I love this movie, and you should love it too because it's fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Well, now it is time to go onto Twitter, Instagram, Threads, whatever, and pull up all of the wonderful comments that you all left us. And boy, we got a lot. We got a lot of engagement from our response or from our post over on Twitter/X, where we asked what your thoughts were on this wonderful movie, and we got quite a few. So our first one is from the Quad Pro Quo podcast, or it's from Allie from Quad Pro Quo. She's been on the show before. She was, she guested with Tammy when we talked about Ready or Not. It's a great episode. You should go check that out.
That was good stuff.
And she states she's never seen it, and I just said, do it now.
Yep, true. Do it now. Stop
now.
what you're doing and do it.
That's pretty much what I'm going to say. Do it right now. Our next one is from the Real Feels podcast, or at Real Feels Pod on Twitter, who says, hands down, one of the best horror anthologies. This is required watching every Halloween. Such fun stories, great effects, and killer cast. Everyone should watch this. It's like I just said that. That's wild. Crazy stuff. Our next one is from our good friend Wyatt from Cinema Trip Reviews, who said, oh, hell yeah. One of my all-time faves. Don't forget to help me with the eyes.
Yep.
We have the Let's Talk Horror channel, who the host of the Let's Talk Horror channel shares a name with yours truly, which is pretty crazy. Not just the first name, but the whole name.
What?
He is my brother from across the pond. Great podcast. Go check out the Let's Talk Horror channel. He said, this has been on my Halloween season watch list since its release. Can you believe this film is now 16 years old? It's mental. It's a proper Halloween movie, and I love it. We love it too.
Older than our oldest.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Our next one is from Half Price Horror, at Half Horror, who said, I like it a lot less than most people. I respect the things it's doing with story structure, and it's definitely clever, but it starts with the nagging wife who won't put out on Halloween night deserves to die, and that's a huge nope for me. So I'm going to respectfully disagree with this comment, because that's not why she dies. Yes, you get the whole thing that she hates Halloween, and it's one of those things where it's like she doesn't tell him no, or she doesn't tell him yes. It's kind of just like, go watch the movie. So the reason that she dies is because she blows out the pumpkin, and she states she hates Halloween.
Yep.
And Sam is not about that. It's not about the sex. I don't think this has to do with sex at all.
No,
like her dying in the sex, I don't think go one and one at all. It's all she dies because of everything she states about Halloween and the fact she blows out the pumpkin.
Yep, you fucked it. You pooched it. And her husband told her, don't do it, dude.
I recommend you watch the movie again. If you still feel the same way, hey, that's cool. I'm going to respectfully disagree with your comment, but I appreciate you commenting. We always appreciate it. Thank you so much. And make sure to check out Half Price Horror. It's a fantastic podcast. Our next one is from our friend Stuart over at Stu World Order, who said, or at SWO Productions said, fantastic. One of my favorite Halloween-centric films and one of my favorite anthology films. Our next one is from at Alpha Mike _87, who said, I like it. All right.
That's fair.
Enough. There we go. Our next one is from at Movies Days, or Movies for Days, who said, outstanding. Possibly my favorite Halloween anthology film in existence. Great performances, perfect tone, tight script, wicked design, and one memorable moment after another. The different tales are also woven together in a pleasantly accomplished, non-linear fashion, which I just like. Wow. The fact I got through that whole comment without fucking up, I'm proud of myself. Make sure to check out Movies for Days. Great podcast. There's a lot of great podcasts in here. I'll make sure to shout them out one more time before we step away here. Our next one is from at, oh boy, I gotta at Leighton Confused, who says, it's worked its way into my Halloween movie watches. Pretty good spooky anthology. The next one is from at Gray's Taproom Pod, who just has a goat emoji.
Okay.
I agree.
Either likes goats or he's implying the film is a goat.
Yes.
One of the two.
Our next one is from at Metro MA West, or Mass West, I'm guessing, who says, such a great movie.
Yes.
And our last one is from at JB Arnold Esquire, ESQ, who said, good movie. I love the way all of the stories connect to each other. We do too. And just, thank you to everyone who engaged with the posts. This is one of like our highest engagements on any of our posts for this show. So thank you so much. We did get one over on Instagram from Fire Fenriers, who says, fucking love this movie. Dylan Baker as the creepy dad are my favorite parts. Good show. Keep it up. Thank you very much. We appreciate you very much. All right, I'm going to hop over to Threads real quick because I'm not sure if we got anything over there, but
I didn't.
Let's
see. It's in that website.
Nope.
All about clothes.
All right. So that is it for comments on this movie, and we appreciate
least.
everybody who left us a comment. We do. Let me shout out the podcast one more time. The ones that I remember our podcast. We have the Quad Pro Quo podcast. Make sure to check them out. They're at Quad Pro Quo Pod over on Twitter/X. The Real Feels podcast. We have Cinema Trip Reviews, the Let's Talk Horror channel, Half Price Horror, Stu World Order, Movies for Days, the Gray's Tap Room podcast, and I think that was it for podcasts that commented. So thank you, and make sure to check out all those amazing podcasts.
Please do.
That is it for Trick or Treat. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about next week, because next week is Friday the 13th.
Oh, no.
The day
Now-
after my birthday.
The last time we talked about a Friday the 13th movie, we talked about the 2009 remake. Well, this time we're talking about a movie that is celebrating its 20th anniversary. A movie I remember so vividly walking into FYE as a young 12-year-old boy and going, I'd like to buy this movie, please. And they're like, is your mom here? And I said, yeah, she's right there. Mom, can you come over here? I got to buy this movie.
There.
Yeah,
She's
please.
like, okay.
I'm not old enough to watch this movie.
Absolutely, sweetie.
And to this day, I still have that good old DVD I bought from FYE. Because next week we're talking about 2003's Freddy versus Jason.
It's going to be a time.
It's going to be a time because I have not seen this movie in quite a while.
Same.
And, but yeah, this is my original DVD, and this thing is loaded with special features. This is that fucking beast of a special edition. And I'm very excited to talk about it because it's got Jason. That's why we're talking about it on Friday the 13th. But also, it's the 20th anniversary, so we gotta celebrate some more anniversaries before the end of the year.
It's not my 20th anniversary, that's for sure. I'm a little bit older than that.
So yeah, so next week we were talking about Freddy versus Jason. And yeah, we got a lot of other great podcasts coming up for the month of October. It is full of just fantastic films. And to start off with Trick or Treat, a movie that I've kind of been wanting to talk about since I started the show. And there's been a couple Spooktober seasons that I feel like, do I want to do Trick or Treat now? Do I want to do Trick or Treat now? And then I just come up with different things would pop in my head. And I was like, nah, we're doing Trick or Treat. And Angela's like, I want to do Trick or Treat. And I went, well, then you're going to do Trick or Treat. So we did Trick or Treat.
Take that bullet.
Yeah, you take the bullet.
Yes. Parker was nice.
I said you took that bullet. It's not a bad bullet. You just took it.
No, it was an exciting bullet. I wanted that bullet to be taken.
It's like, let's say
being shot by a bullet is not a good thing.
Let's just
but,
say-
you know,
you apply to all the rules of Mythos. You're a werewolf, but you just get shot by a regular brass bullet or a lead
Silver.
bullet, and you're fine.
silver.
No, lead. So you take the bullet, but nothing happens
Oh.
to you. You're fine. That's what
Yeah.
we're trying to say. It's a good bullet to take.
And just wait. Next week I'm wearing my birthday crown.
Please do. You should.
This next week is Angela's birthday. So we'll be celebrating Angela's birthday and talking about Freddy vs. Jason, which is just two amazing things. So awesome.
Yes.
Before we go, I want to remind everybody we do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/dissect that film, where we have two tiers. We have a $1 tier that gives you early access to our episodes that are coming out that week. So usually our episodes come out on Fridays and you get them a little bit earlier. I'm not going to say which day because sometimes they could be different days because I have a lot going on in life and sometimes I can't get episodes out every single Monday. So there you go. That's the usual day I try to get them out on. But also, we have a $5 tier where you get extra shows. You get bonus exclusive Patreon shows. We have two exclusive shows right now. We have one called The Monster Zone, which is hosted by my wonderful co-host Dan and Angela, where we spin a wheel every month. We talk about whatever movies they land on, and they're always a great time. And I don't know what's happening for October because, as we say, we record these a little early, so we're still in September while we're recording this.
Yeah.
So our September episodes were the beginning of the end and Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So make sure if you want to listen or be a part of those great shows, go over to patreon.com/dissect that film and subscribe at the Mark Wahlberg Book Club tier, our $5 tier, and you get a lot of extra goodies. It's been a lot of fun creating this extra content for Patreon. And as we've stated before, we're going to be at some point kind of randomly throughout maybe the year just kind of putting some of the Patreon exclusive episodes out to the public so that everybody can enjoy it once in a while. But yeah, that's our Patreon. That's down in the description in our LINKTREE, wherever you want to go. We have a merch store. I never talk about the merch store because we don't really have a lot there, but we do have shirts that have our logo on it. So if you want to get a shirt, a sweatshirt, a magnet, a phone case. I'm trying to look into some new stuff. We got some other designs that we're gonna be working on. We're gonna be trying to figure some other stuff out. But yeah, we do have a merch store. It's on TeePublic. The link is in our LINKTREE. So make sure to go over to there and make sure to follow us on all the social medias. We're on X/Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Threads at Dissect That Film. And make sure to rate and review us on any of the podcast services you listen to us on. So if you're on Spotify, make sure to leave us 5 stars. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, or any other podcast service that you can rate and review the show, make sure to do that. If you like the show, give us 5 stars. Leave us a little like, hey, I really love what you guys are doing. Anything. It warms our heart, and we love to read them out on the show. And thank you. So appreciate you very much. And we're getting closer to 20 ratings on Spotify. So let's get there. We're this close, guys. We're this close. And we're 1 away from 15 on Apple Podcasts. And there's a lot of people listening to us on Apple Podcasts. So we appreciate you very much. So all you got to do, it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. And lastly,
cold heart.
and lastly, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We get comments on every single episode, and I love reading them. It's always great to see, we get multiple views on what they think of the episodes, some good, some bad. And, I like reading them all. I like getting, I like when people critique us and tell us certain things. And I love when people praise us, because who doesn't love praise? But yeah, make sure to subscribe over there. Even if you don't watch us on YouTube, just go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@dissectthatfilm, and hit that subscribe button. It's free. You never have to watch it. Just hit the subscribe button. You could just leave us a like there too, or whatever. But that's it. That's all of our plugs. All of Angela and Dan's links are down in the description. All of my extra links are down in the description. Nothing interesting for me, at least. And yeah, that's about it, guys. This went way longer than I thought it was, but guess what? That's what this show's all about. Going way longer than we thought. So
wish I could do that in bed.
Whoa. Okay.
Lower expectations.
Do you guys have anything else you want to add before we get the hell out of here?
Just ignore what you just said.
So remember, this Halloween, you got to follow the rules or your boy Sam's going to come after you. What are those rules one more time?
Always check your candy.
Always check your candy.
They're back there somewhere.
Yes. Wear a costume.
Wear a costume.
Which these two
Give out
don't
treats.
do.
Do not put out your jack-o'-lantern. Always check your candy like you talked about.
And always check your candy.
And no butt fuckery as a hot dog.
Yep. Nope.
There we go, guys.
Butt fucking a pig.
Yep.
But until next time, everybody, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of Dana Gaming, and we are Dissect That Film. And this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 126. Until next time, everybody, stay spooky.
Bye.